up until then, and even today, the jewel in Time Warner's crown.
The people who work here at CNN do their very, very best.
And after I made the United States,
It was a broken down UHF television station in Atlanta.
System, and it didn't matter if you were in Clover, South Carolina, or Spokane, Washington.
You know, it's an original idea and a very interesting idea.
Where there's a studio show, a highlight show.
My job is the director of NBA TV. My primary responsibility.
Yesterday, Ted Turner died. He was 87 years old. He passed peacefully at his plantation home in Florida, surrounded by his family. And the network he built, CNN, broke the news of its own founder's death live on air, exactly the way he always intended. Wolf Blitzer looked into the camera and said, "He was a legend. He revolutionized the television business. He was the original." That felt right, because Ted Turner was the man who decided that news should not stop, that the world did not need to wait until tomorrow, that somewhere, at any given moment, something was happening, and people deserved to know about it right now. In 1980, every expert in the media industry told him that was a stupid idea. They laughed at him. They called his network the Chicken Noodle Network. They gave him 6 months before bankruptcy. He outlasted all of them. And yesterday, at 87, the man who wired the world together went quiet for the last time. This is his story. Section 1. The boy who had no easy life. Robert Edward Turner III was born November 19th, 1938, in Cincinnati, Ohio. His father, Ed Turner, was a billboard advertising magnate, a hard-driving, hard-drinking man who ran his business with an iron fist and disciplined his son the same way. A leather strap, a wire coat hanger. Ted later said it was not dangerous, just that it hurt like the devil. When Ted was 9, the family moved to Savannah, Georgia. His father sent him to a series of strict Southern military boarding schools. Ted was a handful, brilliant, restless, constantly in trouble. He got into Brown University in 1957. He got kicked out 3 years later, reportedly for having a woman in his dorm room. He never finished his degree. Then came the wound that never fully healed. His younger sister, Mary Jean, contracted a rare form of lupus when she was 12. The illness ravaged her, brain damage, years of severe pain, and she died young. Ted could not understand it. He could not reconcile it with any faith he had been raised with, which he'd done wrong. He said later, and I could not get any answers. Christianity could not give me any answers to that, so my faith got shaken somewhat. Then, in March 1963, his father died by suicide. Ted was 24 years old. Suddenly, he was running a billboard company, a $1 million business teetering on the edge, alone. Most people would have played it safe. Ted Turner doubled everything. Section 2. The Hustler. He grew the billboard company aggressively, buying competitors, expanding territory, taking risks that made his advisors nervous, but his eyes were already somewhere else. In 1970, he bought WJRJ, a tiny failing UHF television station in Atlanta that nobody wanted. He did not know the first thing about running a TV station. He filled the airtime with old movies, sitcom reruns, and pro wrestling, anything cheap. While every other station was signing off at night, Turner's channel just kept glowing. In 1973, he got the local broadcast rights for the Atlanta Braves. In 1976, he bought the team outright. A year later, he bought the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. He was not just a fan, he was cornering the content market. Guaranteed programming, guaranteed eyeballs. And then he looked up. On December 17, 1976, he beamed his Atlanta station's signal to a satellite and offered it to cable companies across the entire United States. Just like that, WTBS, Turner Broadcasting System, was everywhere. Alaska, Florida, Maine, the country's first superstation. He had built a national network without the infrastructure, without the decades of establishment credibility the Big Three had built. He just hacked around all of it. Section 3. The crazy idea. The idea for a 24-hour news channel did not arrive in a flash of genius. It started as a joke. To meet FCC public service requirements, Turner Superstation ran a satirical overnight newscast with a host named Bill Tush, who once famously read the headlines sitting next to his German Shepherd Rex, who was wearing a shirt and tie. The bit became a cult hit, and it got Turner thinking. The satellite was up there. The audience was down here. Why did the news have to stop? In 1979, a veteran news executive named Reese Schonfeld came to him with a formal pitch, a 24-hour all-news network. The big media companies had already passed on it. Too expensive. Nobody would watch. Turner did not see a dumb idea. He saw a gap. The industry's reaction was savage. They called it the Chicken Noodle Network. Executives at the major networks openly laughed at him. Here was this loud Southerner who had dropped out of Brown and sold billboards, trying to crash their exclusive club. I'm going to do it, Turner told his executives. I'm going to launch a 24-hour news channel. They were not laughing at the right person. Section 4. Building the impossible. Turner scraped together somewhere between $20 and $30 million, a fraction of what experts said it would take. He set up shop not in New York or Washington, but in a former country club in Atlanta, non-union, low-cost, pure renegade spirit. For 11 months, 300 young, hungry, mostly inexperienced journalists worked around the clock building the world's first all-electronic newsroom. The budget was so tight, they used shower curtains for studio dividers. Equipment kept failing. The doubt from outside was deafening. Turner hung a white flag he had captured during a yacht race on his office wall. As a symbol of surrender, the one thing he vowed he would never do. On June 1st, 1980, CNN went live. Turner gave the first address, promising CNN would be on air until the world ends. The first months were brutal. Staggering losses, constant technical failures. The media establishment waited for the collapse. Then on March 30th, 1981, Ronald Reagan walked out of a Washington hotel and shots rang out. The major networks were caught completely flat-footed. CNN was live. With a small crew on the scene, they started reporting within minutes. While other networks scrambled and wrongly reported that Press Secretary James Brady had died, CNN gave the world raw, continuous, immediate coverage. It was messy. It was confusing. But it was happening right now. For the first time in history, the world was not waiting for the news. The news was on their screen as it happened. The madman had been right. Section 5. The Empire. The Reagan assassination attempt was a turning point. The industry stopped laughing. But it was the 1991 Gulf War that cemented CNN in history permanently. While other news crews fled Baghdad before the American bombing campaign, the small CNN team, Bernard Shaw, John Holloman, and Peter Arnett, stayed behind. From their hotel room, they broadcast the first hours of the war live to a stunned global audience. Leaders around the world were not waiting for briefings from their generals. They were watching CNN. Time magazine named Turner its Man of the Year for 1991. The empire grew fast. CNN headline news in 1982. TNT, Cartoon Network, Turner Classic Movies. He bought the MGM Film Library. For 1,000 films, including the entire pre-1986 MGM and RKO catalog. He named himself manager of the Atlanta Braves in 1977, managed one game, lost it, and was told by Major League Baseball he could not do that anymore. He won the America's Cup in 1977. In 1997, after receiving a UN award, he decided on the spot to donate $1 billion, a third of his entire net worth, to create the United Nations Foundation. He gave the money while he was still alive, which was almost unheard of in philanthropy at that scale. In 1996, he sold his empire to Time Warner for $7.5 billion. Then, against his own instincts, he voted to approve Time Warner's merger with AOL in 2000. The stock collapsed. He lost 80% of his wealth almost overnight. He never really got it back, but he kept going anyway. He became one of the largest private landowners in America. 2 million acres across 6 states, used to raise bison and restore grasslands. He opened Ted's Montana Grill. He co-founded the Nuclear Threat Initiative. He created Captain Planet. He never stopped. In 2018, Turner announced publicly that he had been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, a progressive brain disease that had been quietly taking pieces of him for years. He shared the diagnosis because he thought it would help others understand the condition. In early 2025, He was hospitalized with pneumonia and spent time recovering at a rehabilitation facility. His final public appearances had been at a celebration of Jimmy Carter's 75th wedding anniversary in 2021 and his own 85th birthday in 2023. Yesterday, May 6, 2026, he died at his Avalon Plantation home in Lamont, Florida. He was 87. CNN Chairman Mark Thompson said, "He was and always will be presiding spirit of CNN. Ted is the giant on whose shoulders we stand." The Hollywood Reporter put it plainly. There is no one in American history who has done more to change how the world gets its news, for better or for worse, than Ted Turner. That last part, for better or for worse, matters. He built 24-hour news to connect the world, to create what he called a brotherhood of information, what became the constant churn, the opinion cycles, the outrage machine he never intended. He talked about it in his later years with genuine sadness, but the core of the idea was real and good. That people deserve to know what is happening, that the world should not go dark at 11 o'clock and make everyone wait until tomorrow. His father told him to set his goals so high he could never accomplish them in one lifetime. That way he would always have something ahead of him. Ted Turner ran out of lifetime. He did not run out of things he had built. Subscribe to STAG Research if you want to keep following the stories of the people who actually shape the world we live in. This one just closed a chapter